Johnson about black cabs and air pollution, question 3131 212010.
Thank you, Darren. And the answer is there are no measures or proposals that I've rejected, but we will come up with a solution that is good for the cab trade and good for London's air. And I would remind you and remind everybody that the cab trade, and there is no one more passionately, pro cab trade than me, but the cab trade contributes over 30% of road transport exhaust emissions in central London, and there must be improvements.
We agree that it's a serious problem and they're a serious contributor to air pollution in the capital. Have you thought about reinstating the 6 monthly inspections for black cabs?
That is not among the measures that I'm looking at.
Well, why aren't you considering that? 2,898 black cabs failed their mid-year pollution tests in the year prior to you abolishing the test. They were having an impact. Why not look at that again?
Well, because we think there's a range of other measures we could bring in, which I'm sure the broad outlines of which you're roughly familiar with. I mean, we're looking at age limits. We're looking at improving the carbon emissions generally of the cab fleet by stimulating zero carbon or low carbon vehicles of all kinds, and the twice yearly inspection, which we removed in the early part of 2008, we don't intend to restore.
Even though it was having an impact in reducing air pollution?
Well, there was, to say the least, mixed evidence on that, and it was thought to be extremely bureaucratic and expensive and not the best way of tackling the problem, which is best tackled, in my view, by moving to much lower carbon vehicles in the fleet.
What about the annual test then? Because although you've stuck to the annual test, it doesn't test the 14,000 cabs fitted with Euro 3 devices to the standards that the Energy Savings Trust set. So, if you're not going to reintroduce the 6 monthly tests, are you going to beef up the annual test to the Energy Savings Trust standards?
Well, I mean, I'll look at that, Darren. I'll look at it. It's something that we could consider. I don't be any doubt. I want to make progress on this issue. It is very difficult. There are serious problems of equity for cab drivers who have bought vehicles in good faith, who face the prospect of losing value in their livelihoods, and you've got to think very carefully about how you do this.
I understand that, but we do need to balance that with a major
we do need to balance that, and that's why we're looking at age limits and we're looking at moving towards lower carbon vehicles.
Okay, so what about the idea of very low emission zone in central London, which is one of the ideas that the Assembly's Environment Committee put forward? You have agreed that buses running in the central London hotspots will be low emissions buses. Why not extend that to taxis and insist that taxis in central London meet lower emission standards than the rest of London?
Well, the interesting thing is we are looking at that, Darren. We are seeing what we can. We're looking at all the policy tools that we have at our disposal.
You initially rejected the Environment Committee's proposal that you look at additional stricter standards.
Well, what you could do is you could look
London.
Let me explain what I mean. Okay, what you could do is you could see whether the congestion charge zone could be a utensil. It would be difficult to make work, but you could see if you could make it work.
And you are looking
at that. I can't tell you now that we can make that work because there are serious technical difficulties, I'm told, but you could certainly try it.
Okay, well, we've had a chink of progress then on the central London. That's, you give me a chink of hope there on the central London pollution hotspot. You give me a chink of hope on beefing up the annual emissions test. But I do urge you to look again at the 6 monthly test. I know you made an election promise on that, but sometimes we all make...
I made an election promise. I kept it.
Sometimes we all make silly promises that we haven't properly thought through.
Oh,
Can
really?
you look at this again?
Well, speak for yourself. I'm I think that was the right decision on the twice-yearly inspection. We're not going back on that. There are a variety of other measures that we are looking at to make taxis cleaner and greener and to improve the quality of London's air, but without punishing unfairly taxi drivers who have invested in machines in good faith, in the belief and the knowledge that these are the things that are their only source of income.
Roger.